Any questions?
Well, I was gonna say, pivoting. Speaking of like grief, depression, gaslighting, how did you? Sorry, I'm gonna throw that one in there for Pawnshop. How did you? And this I'm kind of circling around development because I love the thought process. Right?
Yeah,
Like, I love
as a developer.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, there's that. How did you kind of pick the level of representation for these kind of emotions being represented in your stories, and combining that with like the world of like sci-fi and so what was that process like for you?
It was easy. Like these things already exist in the world. Like the Cupids function as couple therapists. So like for me, it's not a far stretch to think of that. Couldn't couple therapists do arrange like pairing and dating and stuff like that? Mm-hmm. So it's like similar to what Enoch said, this is Afrofuturism, where it's just like these things don't seem far-fetched. They could be very practical. And I wanted to, create a world where it's just like, if you get rid of the fact of just like you can read emotions with signals and stuff like that, these are just really things that we see in our world of just
What's the show with the couples therapist that match people?
Love at First Sight? Yeah, Love at First Sight.
So yeah, there's some shit we actually be seeing.
Right? But the added layer is more mental health, informed. Mm-hmm. So you're not just saying like, oh, I think you like them because of all the preference you wrote down. This is not pop the balloon type of shadows stuff going on right here. It's more so just like, yo, what do you think you need to feel better, and how do you think that person is represented in your life? Mm-hmm. And then you're asking all these questions about dialogue, to build that interaction. So I was just like, yeah, that makes sense. And then part of this comes from just like my organizing work when it came to the emojis. Mm-hmm. I was just thinking to myself, what does it mean if not every time, we need a wellness check or we need some type of assistance with our mental breakdown or us going through depression and making an impaired decision, we visit by, someone that has a gun and a badge and bulletproof cars. Mm-hmm. We actually visit with an emoji that's saying like, yo, I'm gonna take a little bit of your happiness here, put it here. I'm gonna give you, I see you really sad right now, I'm gonna give you a little bit of happiness. Mm-hmm. So to me, it felt very practical. Mm-hmm. But the only thing is just like when you want to write something that is just like, I think they say this in the writing world. Like I have heard a couple of authors say this already. It's just like when you want to write facts, you write fiction. So that's what I was doing. I was like, yo, this could be very real, but y'all won't accept it unless I make it fantasy, right? Okay. So like, oh, if I make it make-believe, then you'll be like, oh, this is believable.
It's like the concept of like, what is it, life imitates art and vice versa, right? So you kind of see, from the pop culture that we grew up with, like certain concepts, certain ideas have followed what we grew up watching, right? Mm-hmm. And then the things that we didn't see, we then created, and it kind of creates the cycle. Mm-hmm. So that's
and also not for nothing, I legit like if I read a book like one of the like a self-help book and it's like, hey bro, you doing this, that, and the third wrong. I'm like, well, fuck you, you don't know me. First of all, but if I read a book and the story shows me a character that's doing this, that, and the third wrong, I'll probably accept it more and be like, dang, that's crazy. Oh, wait, am I doing that? Because it tells your emotions, right?
Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Nobody likes you. You can leave. Anyway, Lindo.
Yes, I'm here.
Present.
I really want to get to the emojis and the cupids because you set up, the way you set it up is like, oh my goodness, this is great. What if instead of like, a cop, you're visited by these guys? And like, but like we see in the story, like people are still people. Mm-hmm. And they take on they take liberties, we'll say, right? And this is what I mean with like the sandbox being so big. It's like this is a great utopia that has been set up, but what happens when in this utopia people are still people, and like things devolve, and it's like so I just page 8 is wild. Like when you see what's happening in page 8, and how they actually get the emotions and everything, I'm like, wait a minute. You said that this is a good thing. What I'm seeing on this page is wildly like disrespectful. HR needs to be called at least.
Right.
This is crazy. So like hearing and reading about Pawnshop, it kind of gives me Psychopaths vibes because I'm really an anime. So that's where that's why I draw from. So how does the regulating of happiness works? How do the emojis work? And I guess there's like, going back to a pre-show conversation, there's the ideal and then there's the action.
Yeah.
So like ideally, how do the emojis work? And then does it differ from like what we might experience?
Yeah, I mean emojis, you can think of them as social workers that are just walking around. And they
Guns.
with depressors.
What's it? Tell me what the depressor is. Because I'm wrong. I'm not creative.
Look, I know the language. I wrote it. Let's say what it is. You can call it that if you feel that way, but hey, it's a depressor.
Fair enough.
So emojis are walking around as social workers, and they have these masks that allow them to read emotional signals. Both the masks work the same. It's just a different way they're functioning. So just like the Cupid masks are reading emotional signals as well. It's just like I'm doing couple therapy, so this is my symbol.
Okay.
So their masks is working the same. So they're reading it, and basically, let's say everybody needs to be at an 80, happiness level.
Mm-hmm.
But then they read someone that's at a 50. They're trying to give that person some more happiness to just boost their energy so they can be in a pursuit of happiness. So that's just the way the world is functioning. But then, like you said, you got people being people, and this is when you realize it becomes The Wire.
So for people that don't know, can you explain how they go about giving people happiness that may not happen?
Because page 8 is wild.
Yeah.
So let's say like let's say base level is 80 and that's happiness. You're at that stable condition. You feel as though you can do everything in your life because you mentally, there to do so. But let's say you get 100 and you're at glee. Some of that happiness gotta go somewhere else because there's people that are at 50. So I'm gonna take a little bit of that to put you at base level to give to someone that's at 50, 40, or 30.
So with such an
there's so many questions on how that works out. Like, because I want to give you your chance. Go ahead. Ask your
it's
question.
like, okay, so picture this visual. You're on an airplane, and instead of descending slowly, however many feet per minute, going down to the runway, you just nosedive. Everybody's floating because of physics, whatever the case may be. It seems like an acute depletion of one's happiness to evenly distribute said happiness to other folk to bring them up to the required level would cause more problems than it would solve, I feel like. Because I know that if I'm feeling gleeful and something happens to bring me to a 50, or bring me to an 80, bring me down to an 80, which is like where I like to be normally, I'm not okay. I'm not okay. And I might continue my descent, like seatbelts on, going down to a 50. So it's this, does this create a violent cycle where people are, what was it? They're being, I would say their emotions are being regulated at that point. Like, does it create a violent cycle of this where, kind of the thing of like, well, no one's ever happy kind of thing.
And let us know if we're getting way too deep into the...
Oh, no.
Sure.
This is good questions. I really want this to be up to the reader. This is why I created the book, so we could really assess is this a good thing. Because I think in our regular life, we're often pawning emotions. we're often taking something from someone else. Like you can have a joyful day, and then someone just cuts you off in the middle of the street, and it took away some of your joy. And now you nosedive, and you went from just like I had a promotion, I got this money that I wasn't expecting. I'm about to hang out with my homies, treat them all. I'm at 100. Matter of fact, I'm at 120. Someone cuts me off in the middle of the street, call me all types of names except the God-given one given to me. Now I'm feeling horrible. I'm about to cancel my plans.
I'm about to go home. Let me take this exit.
The person that did that feel better because, like, I just cussed out somebody that feels worse than me. Thank you. I needed that moment. I needed that moment. And I think that's how life functions. And I think to the point of what I was creating in Pawnshop, I'm wondering how healthy and unhealthy those habits are. So this is a question that I had behind the scenes with Javon. So initially when he created that scene of just like the emotions being like taken from people, he had created expressions of how people felt. I told him, get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. Let's let the reader decide. So they're blank faces. Deliberately, so you can have these questions just like, how does it feel when some emotions are taken away from you?
Interesting.
And I'm just letting that up for the reader because I think these are questions we deal with every single day. Someone can call you with bad news after you just got an award for doing something so great and you're happy about it. Does that take away from your joy in that moment?
No, I think that is a great conversation starter, and I think that can get really deep, really fast. What I am gonna ask about, because we're still talking about emojis and cupids and how it's like, to me, reading it was a slippery slope, and because also the emoji came up to him and was like, I have been given permission to use my depressor to share your joy. I have been given permission from my higher ups to use my depressor to share your joy. And Bo was like, nah, I'm good. Which I think a number of people
reasonable response. Like, I'm okay.
But then the scene that takes place is very much still cop. It's still ACAB a little bit. Like, and so once again, it was just very interesting because the way you set it up, I thought that this was like going to be like a happy story. Like, for some odd reason, I thought it was just going to be like a bit more jovial.
Slice of life.
Yeah, like kind of a thing. And it was like,
I wouldn't want to be isekai to this. Like, I wouldn't want to be. That's right.
Like, oh, feeling like Universal. Okay, this is really cool. Okay, Utopia. And then like we see real fast the underbelly of what's supposed to be a utopia, and I commend you, and I just want to be like that was a dope left hook.
Like, I see what... Like, I see, like, if you zoom out, like, I'm always into world buildings. Like, if you zoom out of this map, like, you see, like, this like, the city's, like, encased in a globe, and, like, you can't go in there. Like, everybody else, like, Jersey, you're not coming in. Like, Delaware, you're not coming in. Like, this is our own thing. Like, there's a special there's a special gate you gotta come in through. Like, that's how I see this being.
I think this is a question I often, me and Enoch talk about often, especially when we talk about the topics of safe spaces. People often think of safe spaces of the absence of harm, but really safe spaces are just like we have enough practices to intervene when we witness harm. So that means it's not like you're coming in here and you won't be hurt, but we're going to exercise everything that we know to reduce this harm as much as possible. And when it does occur, we have thought through intervention as well as we thought through just reimagining, because sometimes they're going to be things that even when we exhaust all the things that we know are just going to be unanswered or doesn't work really well in practice. So like when we talk about that moment, we're also talking about even when we create a great idea, there's still going to be challenges that we as people need to recognize we have to organize around. We have to also reimagine constantly, because things that we thought will work in practice are always just something that we're now applying from a theory.
That's great. And I think that totally Rubik's Cubes kind of how I went into Pawnshop. Because it was very much slice of life, like, oh, this is great. And like, you got the person being honored at the beginning, like, oh my goodness, oh, that's great. So like, I'm really trying to tell you, like, when I realized what was happening on page 8, like,
that's a turning point.
It really threw me, bro. It really threw me. Like, okay, now, so one day I was with some business people and they said this thing of what's down in the well comes up in the bucket.
Mm-hmm.
Now, taking someone's happiness is a crime to both parties. One person is without, while the other doesn't have their own.
Mm-hmm.
What was going on that brought that line from out of your well?
I was just really, like, on a surface level, I was trying to figure out how to end the book with a good quote. and you know, so this is going more in my writing process.
Sure.
So I have a head cannon full of lines, and I just don't know where to place them. Like, I don't have nowhere to put them, right? So, like, you know, for me, it was like I have this dope line. I never got to use it, right? And then I was like, let me see if I can write towards the line.
Sure.
And then I was like, I think this is a great way to end the book, because to me, you know, going back to our other point, it is about the organizing work of just like, both people are trying to strive and survive, and both people are being harmed, even when one is initiating the bumping. There's a reason why the bumping is occurring. So it's just like, you know, with that quote, I was just saying, just like, dang, it is just as harmful that you don't have your own happiness, as much as it is harmful that you took someone's happiness. Yeah. And therefore, the crime is not just on the person that initiated and did the thing of taking, but also the person that is without. So it's just like, it's easier to say, oh, that person is a criminal, they robbed the grocery store. It's also a crime they don't have food in their refrigerator.
This is true.
So it's a both thing. It's not just an either or.
Okay. One of my last questions, because we already talked about why a comic and not a book. One thing, the dialogue is so authentically Philly.
Yeah, I struggle with that. I struggle with that because, like, you know, Enoch is editing my book. He's from Delaware. No shade to them. North side Wilmington, Delaware. North side. And then also, you know, I'm signed to Row House, and they have a set of editors too, right? And I'm trying to make decisions of just like, I want to keep it Philly, but I also don't want to make people feel left out. And so it's just like my uses of John, my uses of Nami. But then also I'm dealing with this idea of just like, it's not just the language. You know, the Eagles just won, and one of the things that people was talking about when the Eagles won was just like how people celebrated the Eagles won in that day of just like, y'all ruining your city. And then all the moments they showing the videos of people ruining the city, I'm like, it's City Hall. This is not Philly. Philly looks so different. So many people have an idea of what a city looks like, of just like the skyscrapers and the city hall and all that stuff. They forget that we're from West Philly, North Philly, South Philly, Southwest. It's row homes. It's row homes. Right. There's people sitting on their porches. The city life looks so different than what is depicted that I decided just like, I'm going to de-invest a little bit from the language. I just want to show regular shit. I want to show people sitting at home. I want to show Broad and Olney. I want to show Vernon Park. These things you don't think of the city because they're not always identified when you see media. Because when you see media of the city, you're often just seeing City Hall and the skyscraper. Every time someone is shooting something in the city, let's show the skyline.
That's how
No,
you know.
No, it's just row homes
Yeah.
and people walking around.
True.
And that's what I wanted to really show. It's just like, oh, I'm going to really embrace Philly by just showing people being regular. Just at the bus stop, just at home. And so, you know, for me, the dialogue was important, but I also realized I want to expand people in the idea of just like what they thought about Philly and how we interact with each other by showing them so much of the city. The city, to me, is a really big character that unintentionally I did not like write for, but it came out in my writing because I care so much about the city.
And I think, not for nothing, I feel like there's a saying that puts this into perspective, but it's like, the more specific you are, the more acceptable to like a lot of people it is, or something like that. Where it's like, because like when we go to different places, you know, you might go to Boston and like a certain area is like, wow, when did I get to like West Philly? You know what I mean? Like it's like certain things will happen, and I think showing the, for lack of better terms, like degular people of just like, you know, it's not City Hall. It's not like those touristy places. It's like, it makes it more like, oh, I get that. I can relate to that, like that kind of a thing. So I think that's like really cool to do. We're going to go through all of that, and then we're going to kind of hop back to the beginning. The spark for Pawnshop came from a bad date?
Yeah. Y'all do your research. Y'all on it. Shout out to y'all.
That was going to be my next question.
I don't even know if I knew this. This don't sound familiar.
Tell us more. Tell us the tea.
So I was on a bad date, and I want to be specific. I'm gonna give y'all something I haven't said in other interviews. The bad date was going bad because of me. I was not as prepared as I wanted to be, right?
Fair enough.
But I knew right away this ain't gonna be a second date. I ain't give you the best impression of myself.
Hey, baby girl, this on me. I understand.
Understand? We don't text no more evidence, right? So as we were on a bad date, she said something where I was like, oh, that is really dope. And she said something along the lines of just like, I feel like we're all out in this world trying to lessen our collateral damage. And I was like, oh my God, that's really good. I never thought about that. I wish I could lessen my collateral damage in this date. I'm horrible right now.
Like, I'm sorry for you. That's on me.
Yeah. And so I just really sat with that for a long time. I didn't know what to do with it, but it made me think about, you know, how pawn shops come up in my life and how like people use them out of urgency. Every time I heard someone like go to the pawn shop, it was like, I need money for the rent. I need money for this. I need to do this essential thing. I'm thinking about making a big investment, so I'm getting rid of other stuff. And I was like, oh my God, that's so much of just like how emotions work a lot of times. Where it's just like these interactions are just like moments that we're trying to do something out of urgency, out of need, out of emergency to then get something else out of it. And the emotion that I'm giving you is collateral. Like, if I really feel happy and I want you to be just as excited about the thing, I'm giving you some of my happiness. So it's just like, yo, I just got a raise. I just got this bonus. I'm taking us all to eat. This makes you excited now, right? And then it amplifies my happiness. So like it's
sensual spirit.
Yeah, so it's like it's this pawning of joy for your excitement.
It makes you think about it, right?
That's a throwback from another episode.
I love that we have arch and
to expound on that. Okay, so like if you think about it, the spirit bomb is never really consensual, right? Like he's not like he asks for it, but he doesn't like. Everybody's energy is getting absorbed. Right? And at the end of the day, like, sure, it's going towards a good cause. Like, we're here to beat Frieza. We're here to beat Cell. Like, there's these things. However, you know, it's not consensual all the time.
one, I will say I hate Goku.
Let's just start right there.
Get on my nerves. Yeah,
That's the foundation.
Yeah, so y'all can throw away whatever I say if you're a Goku fan. Like, I'm not your homie.
Damn.
But it made no sense that people would be putting their hands up. How do you hear this nigga all across the world? His voice is not that loud.
It might be.
No,
you never know.
Fuck out of here.
Through the spirit bomb
No.
transformation and
No.
transmutation, you get
He's speaking to all the energy in the world.
You
No,
know.
you know.
No.
elevation.
Also, the spirit bomb beat nobody
It never wins.
and never won in the whole series.
I feel like the
Wasn't
spirit
it
bomb
like,
is
it's like 1 in
Wait,
like 3.
who did he use it for that moment? Was that
He
Frieza
used
or was
I think
that
that was Frieza.
or was that
He
Cell?
used the small spirit bomb. Well, alright, it beat Vegeta. He used the small spirit bomb on Vegeta. It did win,
See, 1.
but that was a team effort because if Gohan didn't bounce it off with his fucking positive spirit, it wouldn't have worked because he missed.
Positive
Right.
vibes.
He used it on Frieza. That's not how Frieza died. He used a spirit bomb. Frieza came back, killed Krillin, and then that nigga went Super Saiyan. Spirit bomb failed, right?
SB fail.
I don't recall him using it on Cell at all.
Yeah, I don't think he did.
Yeah, Cell self-destructed. I guess.
No, that's father son command.
No, I'm talking about for what the part Goku was present for. He,
True.
he got big, and then Goku teleported to King Kai's world, and then he blew up. And then then Gohan finished the job with the spirit of his father. Bullshit.
I look like a spirit bomb.
Kinda.
No.
The spirit bomb adjacent.
Piccolo.
Then it was Majin. It was
loving
Kid
this.
Buu,
Mm-hmm.
but the spirit bomb only won because he Kamehameha inside of it.
I mean, he's just adding extra energy. That's all a spirit bomb is.
No, bro.
Sprinkles on top.
He threw the spirit bomb. Kid Buu caught it. He was like, "Oh my god, this is kind of heavy, but like I'm alright a little bit." And then Goku was like, "Oh shit, this crazy. Let me go Super Saiyan and then Kamehameha that shit." And then it killed
Because
him.
you gotta have the it's like
You know, it's a garnish.
Bro,
It's a garnish.
if a nigga came in here and told you, "Bro, look, we about to fight, and I got this one move. It's a finisher, bro, where I take the energy from everybody in the world and I throw it at a nigga." He'd be like, "Oh shit, like let's do it." And then when you saw it not work, you never giving that nigga energy.
you never get the sticks
He
again.
gonna be like, "Bro, last time you said it was gonna work, it didn't." And we seen it work never. And we be like, "Spirit bomb!" No,
I
bro.
don't drain that for work. I'm tired. I don't even want to fight no more.
That shit crazy. But Goku don't care because all he do is let niggas take L's for him.
He really do.
That's what you really don't like.
Yeah,
him.
we
Bro.
have to have you back,
right. Like
Goku be letting people take L's for him.
And he's not a good father.
He not.
Well, I mean, that's a totally different. Like,
That's another.
good fighter, good
No.
father. I mean,
But they
Semantics,
both
like-
they both fall into letting people take L's for him though. If he was really a kind and considerate, loving nigga, which, by the way, we all officially know for a fact that Kira Toriyama did not like Goku, so I don't give a fuck about none of that, because the nigga that created him was like ass, right? But either way, if he was such a savior, he wouldn't have had a child in the first place.
I mean, you can't.
Yeah, what?
That was more Chi-Chi than him.
Yeah, like you can't.
Bro,
like,
you didn't even know what kissing was. Come on.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? You like kids just be happening. I don't think he knew what a condom was.
Kids be
I
happening.
think he just got that.
No,
good
hold
put
on.
And was like, "Ugh."
Because if any of us, if I told you right now I had a child I wasn't taking care of, you'd be like, bro.
Depending on who your friends are.
No, it wouldn't matter.
But you said you got friends that ain't shit, so it's
Right, but that I don't think that would have factored into your emotional response to me being a deadbeat dad, right? But we give Goku passes because his selfish desires happen to intersect with the preservance of the world. He don't even be actively trying to save the world. It's so much dialogue that Americans changed so that he would be more aligned with Superman. That whole "I'm the light of the universe" speech is not in the sub.
Wait, when did you do that?
When he first turned Super Saiyan against Frieza. He's like, I'm the light of the universe. I'm the savior of the blah blah blah. That shit doesn't exist in the actual.
I was about to say, I sub over dub for all anime.
Exactly.
Oh.
So you didn't know
I was
what
like,
the fuck I was
yeah, I
talking
was
about,
like,
right? All of us who
We're
watched
dub
that
out
shit
here, I'm
in
just saying.
English first, we got
I'm like
this
reading
whole
TV.
motherfucking sermon about how Goku was doing it for the people. That nigga don't give a fuck about us, bro. He put the
I mean, he's
whole
a Saiyan at the end of the day.
he
Like,
put the whole universe on gamble. He didn't even have a team set up, bro. Then when it got Krillin, get the fuck out of here, nigga. And brought back Frieza. That's crazy.
Because Yamcha wasn't available.
right.
Goku
Team
about,
Yamcha.
Yo, I am Team Yamcha though. For real, for real.
Goku about as trash as Captain America in the MCU.
Wow.
Okay.
We just.
Okay.
When Dan watches this.
Oh man.
I don't
Okay.
even need long to explain this. Captain America was best friends with Tony Stark. He knew the nigga that killed that nigga parents. He never told him. The same time he told him was the time he jumped him with the nigga that killed his parents. Then after all the shit Tony Stark was warning them about happening, he had the nerve to show up to that nigga cabin with his peaceful family and be like, yo, help us. Fuck out of here, bro. You a trash friend.
And we all have a spectrum of friends.
Right, exactly. Yes, and my niggas that's trash, I let them know they trash regularly. I don't be like, yo, support that nigga. I be like, no, don't egg him on. Don't egg him on. Shame him. Actually, I don't say that because I don't participate in shame culture. But realistically, though, it's like,
Accountability.
yeah, let's not
There you
boost
go.
that nigga. But everybody be like, Captain America, bro, like altruism. He believes in us all. No, he don't, because he ain't believe in Tony Stark, bro. That's why he fucking jumped that nigga with his parents murdering.
Steve Rogers.
Steve Rogers.
Captain America.
Yeah. Yeah, not Sam Wilson.
Yeah.
Yeah, he innocent, bro.
Okay.
To an extent, whatever role he had in working for the American government.
I mean, yeah, that's facts. You
So-
know what I'm saying? Yeah, he probably did kill some innocent folk.
Probably.
You know what I'm saying?
On
that's
your left, and then
Yeah.
you're like, what? Like, it's
Yeah,
just
but like
this.
the difference is the shit that we saying about Sam Wilson right now was off camera. We don't know if it happened or not. Captain America did this shit I just named on camera, bro. It was in front of the world.
Captain Steve Rogers had white privilege, so he did it on camera.
I can take this hit.
Everybody still think I'm good.
I'm chilling. I'm
My
bro.
PR is great.
He was the king of Wakanda was like, bro, you only killed my dad. He was like, bro, I understand, but let him be.
He's my friend.
I'm like, what, bro? And then we be surprised that we got Trump and Elon Musk.
Whoa, here we are.
This took a turn. This took a turn.
White best friends cause trouble. All right.
That's the clip right there. That's it. That's what we open it up with the episode. And then we're going to go into it.
Jesus. We've reached the end of this episode.
Very much so.
Thanks for rocking with us. Thank you guys for coming through.
Yeah,
so
We
much.
definitely
Yeah.
have to have you on for the actual season. You
For sure.
side John, side pieces no longer.
Hey,
You
right.
will have you guys.
I'm in your main joint now.
Family meals, family cookouts.
Yeah.
You're right up there.
Yeah.
So neither one
That
of
was
us
a
is
Neo reference.
I was like, what? I thought it was like a Power Ranger reference.
No, that's a Neo reference. Don't.
Don't Google it.
No, you can Google it. It's
Oh,
not
okay.
that crazy. He's polyamorous now.
Huh.
He calls his.
Oh,
his
the-
pyramid.
oh.
Yeah, I think it's whatever.
Yes.
I don't
That's
support
another
it.
episode.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
think
did.
it's- yeah,
Please
but-
be sure to check out their stuff. You can find Immortal Dark on his website, which is immortaldark.com, I'm pretty sure.
ImmortalDarkManga.com. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the same IG name as well, at Immortal Dark Manga.
Please check it out. You can find Pawnshop when it drops.
Yeah, right now you can pre-order. Pre-orders are so important because it shows that, black creators deserve shelf space in these stores because it's available at all retail stores. And you can pre-order it now at lindoyes.com/pawnshop.
Awesome. Thank you guys for rocking with us. This will probably be split up into 2 episodes, which
shit.
you probably know that by now. But thanks for rocking with us. Catch y'all on the next one. Have a blessed night.
Peace.
Deuces.